Hello, everybody.
Welcome back to another episode of
A BJJ Marriage, where we talk about our lives as a married Jiu Jitsu couple. Hello, everyone.
Hello. Happy holidays.
Yes. Christmas was just this past week, and New Year's is coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of stuff happening. Lots of chaotic lives happening, I would say.
Chaotic life stuff.
Yes.
That's what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
Cheers. We survived Christmas
Cheers.
so far.
Yeah, I think it's over.
Who knows?
It's kind of a chaotic Christmas for us, though. We saw lots and lots and lots of people.
And we still went to open mat.
Yeah. It was a Christmas Eve and Christmas Day were two of the busiest days that we've had in a long time. And typically when I think about a busy day or a busy weekend, it's normally like, oh, well, we have plans with these people at this time. Like, we have something planned today type of thing, which is almost every day for us, which is what we're going to kind of get into. It's, like, very rare for us to not have anything to do and not be able to leave the house, which is days that we cherish a little bit.
We have not left today. We don't plan on leaving.
Yeah. For Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, we had 3 things planned.
Each day.
For like 3 and 4 hours each.
Yes.
So those were long days.
That was fun. But yeah, how was your week of training?
It was good. I didn't feel like I got that much in. But
You still did.
I still did. I still went 3 times.
Only 3?
Yep.
Oh yeah, because there was nothing Saturday.
Yeah, nothing Saturday.
Well, you did train Saturday, though, for about 10 minutes. Maybe 5.
Yep.
Not that long.
But, yeah, I went Tuesday for like 4 hours. So, that's the other thing that we were talking about, is that when we train, it's not just like you normal people who like show up for class, do class, and then roll a little bit, and then leave. Like, we're there all the freaking time. So, I get there around 5 o'clock on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and then I don't leave until after 9 those days. So that's 12 hours of training right there in those 3 days. And not all of it's jiu-jitsu, but I mean, it's still working out, it's still being there, still not sitting in my bed watching Netflix. But yeah, I trained Tuesday night for 4 hours, and then I took Wednesday off, and then Thursday again 5 to 9. And then Friday was Christmas Eve, so we did a Christmas Eve open mat, and that was super fun.
It was super fun. There was good people there in the morning. We did a couple of competition rolls for Abro, get him ready for January 8th competition.
You did?
Yes.
That's cool.
Yes, we did. It was a good time.
Cool. That's how invested I was in my rolling. I wasn't paying attention to anyone else.
Yeah, Mike Coy was reffing us. I won my points. Sorry, Abro.
You're a purple belt. He's a white belt.
I know. I was trying to give him some good pressure, though.
Yeah.
Because, the tough thing for him is he's not going to feel there's nobody like his size and his skill to train with.
Yeah. Yeah, that is rough.
So I was just trying to, give him some white belt strength.
The only person who could probably be roughly his size is Adam Conley. And Adam just turned blue, so they're also a little bit different in skill level.
Right.
So hopefully competition will be good for him.
Yes. We're going to find out.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm on weight, maybe I'll compete. I didn't weigh myself last night or this morning, so who knows?
I thought you were going to.
Yeah, I forgot about it.
You're a little preoccupied, huh?
With
Falling
what?
asleep.
Yes. I was in a food coma / hangover.
Yeah, Nick ate and drank a little too much on Christmas.
It was a good day.
We're having a good day. Yeah. How was your week of training?
My week of training, I had a lot of fun. I got kicked out Tuesday night again after Muay Thai. But
for those who don't know, it's women's only
on
Tuesday nights, and Nick likes to try to think that he can be there.
It has not worked yet.
No, and it won't. You gotta go.
Yet. Yes, so let's see. Wednesday, though, there was no-gi, and that was fun. I had a bunch of good rolls. I had a bunch of scrambles. This week, the last week or so, I was watching an instructional on scrambles, especially from Pritt's defensive postures. And I was putting a lot of that into practice and kind of just like scrambling to top position or scrambling to the back or kind of just running around in general. But I had a lot of scrambles and it was super fun. And Jose's in town.
Yeah.
So I got to roll with him for a bit, which was also fun.
Jose and now his wife Susie trains with us, so that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Ellie and I were actually talking about it and how many couples are now at Fluid and how cool it is. Like, there's us, there's Joe and Ellie, but then outside of that, sorry if we miss anyone because there's a lot of us now, but like there
Steve
is
Karen.
Yep, Steve and Karen, and then there's Eric and Margaret, and
Brenton himself.
Shut up. Jose and Susie now, and then I don't know. We were naming a whole bunch of them.
Justin and
Sam.
Yes.
Sam just started, so that's super cool. Chris Faber and Alexis.
Yep.
And I'm trying to think of the women in my classes right now because that's who I would have to go off of. But yeah, either way, we have tons and tons of couples now, which I think is super cool to see on the mats. Most of them are all white belts, which is totally fine. That just means that they're just starting their journey, which is why it's super cool for us because we're now finally seeing it happen where all these people are getting their spouses. Typically, the males are getting their wives in, which is cool because I like that. I'm ready for that.
We always tell them to listen to this podcast.
Yes.
So if we encouraged you, thank you very much. We're very happy to have you.
So yeah, Sam just started this week, which is Justin Ryson's wife, and also we coach their kid in kids kickboxing. So we've known them for a while, like 2 years now.
Wow, it's been that long.
Yeah. Kind of crazy.
Uh-huh. Yeah. It was funny because we were rolling at open mat, and Brittany and I were rolling, and I'm pretty sure Jose and Susie were rolling next to us. And I was like, hey, look, 2 married couples rolling. And Joe and Ellie were like not rolling with... Joe and Ellie were not rolling with each other. And I was like, come on, guys, quick. But they were doing something else. But yeah, that was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. Still trying to work on a couple people to get their spouses to come in. Like Adam Conley, I would like it if Carly would come in. She's my size, so that would be awesome.
Yeah.
There's a couple other guys that I'm like, hey,
get
your wife here.
Yeah. I think just getting women in the gym in general is better.
Yes. Well, it's been really helpful since we've had the Tuesday nights women's class. It's really opened up a lot of women's comfort zones to actually join and try it out. So that's been super awesome. That's been growing exponentially. We really thought it was going to be like 2 or 3 people for the first couple weeks until it started growing. And I think so far it's been like 8 to 10 every class. So that's
sounds really like a good time.
Yeah, it is actually.
Yeah. But yeah, open mat was super fun.
Mm-hmm.
Had a bunch of good rolls.
Yeah,
we had a couple guests.
We had a Christmas Eve open mat because everyone's a little busy and preoccupied on Christmas, and it kind of took up 2 of our busy days at the gym for everyone, not just us. Like Friday is a very packed day with noon and 5 p.m. kids class, and then all the way up to open rolling at the end of the night. So it was just kind of fun to be able to get some rolls in. Everyone can work off some calories that they were about to ingest because Nick sure did.
Oh my god, I ate too much. Yeah. But Saturday was Christmas.
Yeah.
So Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Yep, but we didn't get any rolling in. Well, Brittany got some rolling in though. After it was our second Christmas party of the day.
Yep.
After brunch, which we had a bunch of people over for Christmas brunch and had some giant mimosas. So that was fun.
Some big boy mimosas.
Big boy mimosas.
That's what we called it. No, that was super cool. We had a bunch of people, and a lot of them from Fluid actually came, which was super fun. But we did a brunch potluck, and the way that inspired that was normally my family doesn't do anything until 5 o'clock on Christmas. So Nick and I had been talking for a couple weeks beforehand that maybe we should host a brunch with our friends instead in the morning of for anyone else who doesn't have plans. And it ended up being a really good turnout, and we had a really fun time. And we had lots and lots of mimosas and Bloody Marys and cojitos?
I don't know.
Whatever she brought. So I didn't even get to try it because there was so much food and I was too full.
Yeah, there was enough food probably for like 30 or 40 people.
Yeah.
There was not 30 or 40 of us.
No, there was 14 of us. And I was getting nervous because everyone in the group chat was just like, Bloody Marys, mimosas, Irish coffees. And I was like, guys, can we have food?
Yeah.
And then everyone apparently took that to heart and brought like 3 times the amount of food that they needed to. So, like, when I expected 1 quiche, there was 2 quiches. When I expected 1 French roast casserole, there was 3. And then I made biscuits and gravy, and I made 16 biscuits, and I think like 3 of them got eaten. So there was just so much food.
Yep. So we're having breakfast for dinner, and breakfast for tomorrow, and breakfast for lunch tomorrow, and breakfast for dinner tomorrow again.
Yep.
It's gonna be great.
Yep, lots of breakfast. But anyway, so that was our first Christmas.
Yes, but then second Christmas, the drinks started flowing a little bit more.
My hand hurts.
Brittany wrist socked herself in her sleep last night and slept on it for a few hours. And she woke up and she was like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was sleeping with like my hand on my chest underneath me or something. So I was literally wrist locking myself all night. And I woke up at like 4 a.m. and I was like, my hand really hurts. And I'm glad I woke up because otherwise I would have slept on it for another like 4 more hours and I probably wouldn't be able to move it at all. But anyway.
Oh yeah. So yeah, the drinks were flowing a little bit more. And I don't know. Oh yeah, one of the kids is a wrestler.
Yeah.
So he like squared up with me in a wrestler stance, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm in. I'll wrestle." Somehow
he's like 10.
I'm only 30, so. But somehow I never wrestled with him. He ended up tying up with someone else, and then the kids started wrestling, and then her uncle like wrestled both the kids at once and was like, I win. And then Brittany was like, I could take you.
That's not even what happened, actually.
Yeah, how did it start?
I was trying to remember how it started.
Well, that's why I said the drinks were flowing a little bit.
Yeah, we were a little tipsy at this point. But
I had some whiskeys.
I saw my uncle like trying to do a front headlock to our wrestler cousin. And I was trying to teach him how to get out of it with a sit out. Because, you know, when you're in a front headlock, you sit out and you keep sitting out until you can break that space and create some space in your neck.
That was part of the scramble instructional I watched.
Yeah.
some good sit out variations. Anyways.
So if you train jiu-jitsu, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you don't, you train jiu-jitsu and you don't know what I'm talking about, you should probably be put in front headlocks. But anyway, so I was trying to teach him how to get out of that with a sit out. And after he sat out, like I was showing him how to do a sit out, which means I was on my butt. And then Damien ended up coming up and like trying to
guard?
Yeah, like, in my guard. And now my uncle is like trying to wrestle me, and he has no experience, like no jiu-jitsu, no wrestling, nothing.
He did a self-defense class like for 1 month, maybe.
Yeah, and that was it. But like he's one of those big macho men, like pride and everything.
He's proud?
Yeah, I didn't mean that. But like he's just very like, you can't beat me. You're basically like, he didn't say any of it, but it's just like his demeanor is like, you're a girl, you're not going to beat me, I don't really care type of thing.
Yes.
And so I showed him what's up.
Yeah, it was funny. She dummy swept him, and then he tried to get back up on top, and then she ended up putting him in a triangle, and he didn't know how to get out of the triangle, so he just stood up. And I was recording, and I was like, oh, no slams. No slams.
I was also nervous because there was no mats. This dude also does not know what he's doing. So I was
And we're in a dining room with a table full of food and drinks and kids.
Family is screaming.
And the dogs are barking. And everyone's like, oh my God.
Yeah, right. Speaking of chaos.
Yes.
So, yeah, I have him in like a locked triangle, but he just stood up because he's way bigger than me. And I knew I didn't have it locked because I'm now up off of the ground.
You're on him.
Yeah.
You're sitting on his shoulders almost.
And I was thinking about it while I was up there, and I was like, I could pull on his head, I could break his arm, I could jump around and take his back, I could do all these things, but like there's no mats.
Yeah.
And I also don't want him to fall over and him slam me down. And like I honestly thought we were just kind of playing, which I'm sure we were.
Yes.
But like he was taking it super serious. Like he was really trying to make sure
he was not going to lose.
No, he was not. And he did.
Yeah, then he eventually put her back down on the ground. And then she went for the triangle, and then she dummy swept him again. Yep. And then she got up on top, and then he was kind of like backing down a little bit. Yeah. And she was like,
Yeah, I got up and I was like, Jiu-Jitsu wins!
Yes.
But it was funny, too, because he was trying to do something to my leg. And remember, he has no experience. So, like, someone trying to do a leg lock on me, like, come on, you're not going to get it. But, and I ended up turning around to my belly, and I looked at everyone in my family who was all, like, screaming and shouting and going, oh, my God. And I just kind of, like, did my own little flip or sit out or whatever you want to call it, and then I pulled him into my guard again, and everyone was like, whoa! Like, it was, like, the craziest thing that my family has ever seen.
Yes.
And then it was funny because my little cousin, who's a wrestler, now my uncle is like, we need to get you training with them. And then my aunt, his mom, she told me, she's like, I need to start coming to train with you. And like she's like asking me like when our class is. She's super interested. She lives 40 minutes away and she still wants to come. And then they also are hosting a foreign exchange student right now from Estonia. And she's been doing Taekwondo over in Hartford with them. And even her name is Mia. Mia was like, oh my gosh, like I need to do that. I'm like, yeah, because you realize that Taekwondo can't really save your life and Jiu Jitsu can.
Ooh, shots fired.
Sorry, not sorry. I mean,
yeah.
You tried Taekwondo with a tie-up on him, and I do Jiu-Jitsu, and I win, and you don't, so there's that.
It was fun.
But then it was super funny, because then everyone was super excited, and they were all like, oh my god, I need to start training, and then my aunt, who is my uncle's wife, was just like, I've never seen anyone beat him before. And then their daughter, my cousin, she comes up and she's like, you beat my dad! Everyone was very excited about it.
It was awesome.
And then we went to our third Christmas, which was with my dad, our professor, the owner of Fluid. And of course, the first thing Nick says when we walk in the door, he's like, Brittany beat up Damien!
Yeah, that was funny. And then I had a food coma hangover and went to sleep. I had one bite of steak at dinner. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I cannot. I apologize.
Yeah, they were genuinely worried about you.
You know, I wasn't acting that weird or anything.
You were, actually. Tired. You were acting weird. We're sitting there at the dinner table, and we're with my grandparents and my dad. It's just the five of us. And Nick is literally sitting there with his head in his hands, like, on the table. And my grandma is just staring at him from across the table and was like, are you okay? And my dad was like, I've never seen you like this before.
I was embarrassed. I was trying so hard to, like, eat. I could no longer eat.
You could not hang.
I'd been eating since, like, 11 a.m. to, like, 6 p.m.
We had a lot of food.
And then it was dinner time, and I was like...
Yeah. Yep, because then at my aunt's house, she also had appetizers. So we went from, like, this massively huge brunch for 50 people for 10. And then...
Yep, and I had 2 plates there for some reason.
Yeah, and then we went to my aunt's house, who also had way too many hors d'oeuvres. She had, like, a charcuterie board, she had meatballs, she had this, like, crescent pull-apart cheese roll thingy, and then she also had ramaki.
Yeah.
There was just so much food. And then we're also drinking a crazy amount of sangria. At least I was.
Yeah, so I had a bunch of whiskey and mimosas.
So he's drunk, I'm drunk, and then we're freaking doing jujitsu in the living room.
It was a good Christmas, let me tell you.
And then we have to, like, sober up so we can go to my grandma's house now. And I was like, I gotta stop drinking.
Yeah.
Which is also fun because, like, I don't really drink. Anyone who knows me knows that I really don't touch alcohol very much. I used to be a social drinker when I was younger, but within the last, like, 3 years, I just kind of cut it out completely. And so Christmas was the first time that I was, like, drinking a bloody. I had 3 mimosas, one of them which was a big boy. And
big boy.
And then I had, like, 3 sangrias throughout the night, and it was different.
It was fun. Yeah. Merry Christmas. So, yeah. Chaos. So we survived, and here we are.
Yeah, it was just chaos.
Yes. But, yeah, that's the subject is... how to stay consistent in your jiu-jitsu schedule.
Jiu-jitsu.
How to stay consistent in your jiu-jitsu schedule.
Yes.
With a crazy chaotic life.
Yeah. How do you stay motivated when it seems like everything in your life is going to be a little too much for you? I know that that's something that Nick actually does specialize in with My Odyssey, is getting you on track with a schedule, with a plan, and figuring out how to make the things that you want to prioritize in life an actual priority.
Right.
And that's all it really comes down to is, what do you prioritize in your life?
In simple terms, priority.
Yeah. Yes. What do you prioritize and make it happen? That's really all it comes down to.
Yep. All right, good episode.
Yep. Adios. Thanks for listening.
Yeah. But I know that you struggle at getting to the gym more than I do. Mm-hmm. So, you know, what do you think about when you feel like you don't want to go to the gym? Because I'm probably in a weird boat where there's never a time where I don't want to go to the gym. Like, there are times where I can't go to the gym and I just really want to go. And that's probably the hardest part for me.
Nick is a special breed, though. And if you know him, I think you know exactly what I'm talking about. And that's not even necessarily a bad thing. He just has a lot more energy than a normal person. And he just constantly wants to go, 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 go. And I am learning about myself that I also like to do things a lot, but not nearly the way that he does. But we've also decided over the weekend that I can't sit in one spot for more than 3 hours or I kind of lose my mind. So I guess what I think about on the days that I'm just like, oh, I'm super tired today, or I just want to be lazy. I don't
Or
want to
had
be
such
anywhere.
a long day at work.
Yeah, I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to do anything. I just want to be home. Like, those are actually the days that, even though I'm feeling that way, I will tell myself, think about how you'll feel after you've rolled.
Yep.
And then when I can start thinking about how I know I'll feel, it actually motivates me to get going.
Yes.
So but it's hard. It's hard to switch your mindset that way, because when you're currently feeling exhausted or tired or just plain out lazy, like you just don't want to do anything, or you don't want to be social, or you don't want to be anywhere. But if you roll, you should know how you feel after you roll. And I can almost guarantee you, especially if you're listening to this, 9 times out of 10, if you're feeling the way that I'm describing, after you're done rolling, you probably don't feel that way anymore.
Yeah, that's a neuro-linguistic programming technique called future pacing, in case you're wondering.
Okay.
Where
you specialize.
You are in your current state where you don't feel the way you want to feel, but you know once you get through something, you're going to feel a different way.
Mm-hmm.
So you think about, okay, in the past, when I go through this thing that I don't feel like I should do right now, I do end up feeling better.
Mm-hmm.
So then you start to feel that way, and then you go through the thing and you're like, oh yes, I remember. This is how I want to feel.
Yes.
And that's called future pacing.
But I think that is a big part of jiu-jitsu. Like, jiu-jitsu it's super fun. Some people say it's life-saving, and there's so many different terms for it. But, like, if you do jiu-jitsu, you know exactly what we're talking about. Like, it's a very good stress reliever. It's a fantastic workout.
It's therapeutic.
Yes, very therapeutic. It's language with your body. It's hanging out with your friends. It's literally learning a new skill. Like, there's so many positives to it that...
Exercise, health.
Yes. And so when you are feeling like absolute crap, if you go do the therapy, you're probably going to feel better.
Right.
But it's really hard to get yourself to do that.
Yes, it's almost
Sometimes.
like when you have a project you're dreading at work, and you're like, oh, I don't want to do this. Mm-hmm. But when you finish it, you're like, finally, I finished it. And then you feel better.
Yeah. But I know in my mind, like, I still see jiu-jitsu as a huge workout. And so on the days that I am feeling very exhausted, I'm like, I just don't want to work out today. Like, I just don't. But... I mean, if you've been listening to this podcast, I think a couple weeks ago we talked about our schedule, and I really don't skip very often. Like, I go 5 days a week. I very rarely skip one of them, and the only time I really don't train is when I'm on vacation. And I can tell, even when we're on vacation, I get antsy. Mm-hmm. And then we even have been trying to incorporate training on our vacations lately.
Yeah. Yeah, I think of jiu-jitsu as physical meditation. Mm-hmm. I think Joe Rogan coined that.
Yeah. But some people just see it as physical.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it's hard to get yourself to want to be motivated. Because you know you're not motivated, and you know you will be afterwards. It's just that happy medium in between of how do you get yourself to get there. And I actually just posted something today in the group chat about that. Or in the Fluid group, just saying that typically motivation follows action. So you have to do the action before you're physically motivated. And I know that's how I feel. Like, even getting there, I know on Christmas Eve when we had our open mat, I was not feeling good. I was having a huge stomach ache and a bad headache, and I almost didn't even go. But that was, again, one of the days that I was like, I need to force myself to go. I'll feel better. And then when we got there, there were 5-minute rounds, and I was just all tied up with my gi and everything at like 4 minutes left in the round. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to drink my coffee for 4 minutes before I start. So I could tell I was stalling to do it. And I had to tell myself, even though I didn't see this post yet, but I was like, okay, motivation follows action. So I just got to do my first roll, and then I know I'll get in the groove. Like, I know that once I do my first roll, I'll want to keep going. It's not like I'm going to do one roll and be like, all right, I'm done.
Yes.
It's just getting yourself to do that first roll, to actually push yourself to get there, even when you don't want to.
Yeah, that's building momentum. And there's a tactic I use a lot. It's called mini habits or mini goals. And what that is like, if you wanted to become a runner, you don't start out by saying, I'm going to run 5 miles a day. Yeah. You start out by saying, I'm going to put on my running shoes today. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that can be a huge barrier where people look at their shoes and they're like, yeah, I really don't want to fucking run today. Yeah. They do not put their shoes on, and they do not run. But if you're having that issue, like, okay, if my goal is to just put on my shoes, I can do that. That's easy. Mm-hmm. And then you put on your shoes, and you're like, oh, maybe I can just do a quick little run. I'm already dressed. Mm-hmm. and you have already exceeded your goal. But if you just put your shoes on for that day, you have met your goal, and that's totally fine. And then you build off of that, and then you build the next smallest phase of that goal. Okay, I'm going to put on my shoes and run to the end of the block and then run back to my house. Okay, I can do that. That's easy. Mm-hmm. You can use that in jiu-jitsu, which granted it's a little different because if you show up to class, you got to do the hour class. Mm-hmm. But, even then, our gym is, if you need to leave early, people have leave early. If you show up late, we don't care. We just want you guys to train. Obviously,
no one bats an eye on any of that kind of stuff.
Right, it happens. So, the hard part might be setting your gi out on your bed when you get home. So when you change clothes, your gi's right there already. Or your rash guard set or whatever you wear to work out.
I put my gi in my bag the night I get home from the gym. So, if I train one night and I take that gi off when it's in my bag, then when I take that gi out to put in the wash, I'll automatically just put a new gi in my bag right away so that I don't even have to waste that 2 minutes folding a gi and putting it in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if you are struggling to get to the gym, take away some of those pain points by planning ahead earlier when you have the intention strong in your mind. So you have things set up to make it easier for you to get to the gym. Mm-hmm. That's one thing that can really help you stay on your schedule. Mm-hmm. And even then, if your schedule feels overloaded with jiu-jitsu and you constantly feel that way for a long time, maybe set your expectation down just one notch. Take one class out of the rotation. See if it gets easier or harder. Because not everybody needs to train 7 days a week.
Yeah, we're not Gordon Ryan here.
No, we're not. But yeah, there's always happy mediums, and we understand that life. There's many things we have to do in life, right? But for me, I have literally built my life around jiu-jitsu, so it is easier for me in general to do jiu-jitsu.
Yes, and I would say we built that life because that's how we wanted our life to be. We wanted to make sure we made the time for ourselves, and in order to, wow.
Whoops. Our dogs are playing.
But we made the time to actually get to the gym, and that way we would have no excuses. So our schedules, we go Tuesday through Friday nights, and then we go Saturdays for open mat.
And I also go Tuesday mornings and have other lessons before the night classes and stuff.
Yeah, but we don't...
Thursday morning.
We don't have plans at 6 in the morning. So we actually don't make plans with people.
I do have calls at 6 in the morning.
Can I finish?
Oh my goodness, you cut me off 10 times already.
But we don't make plans on Tuesday through Friday nights. It's just not in our... If someone asks, you want to go to dinner, you want to go see a movie, you want to do blah, 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 and I always say, okay, I'm open Sunday and Monday.
Yeah. Yep.
Scarlett's crying.
Yeah, no, she'll be okay. But yeah, so that's what we mean by we build our schedule around jiu-jitsu because it's a high priority in our life. Mm-hmm. The other reason we go to jiu-jitsu so much is because you can't spend money while you're at jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, it's been very helpful.
Yes.
We always ask each other too, what did we do before jiu-jitsu every night? Mm-hmm. We don't really have an answer. We don't know.
I think I played more video games.
Yeah, we spent a lot more money.
We did.
That's for sure.
Yeah. But, I don't remember what I was saying because he jumped in front of me again.
Kind of like you do every episode to me.
I don't know.
Okay. But we were talking about... I don't remember.
Yeah, we were talking about schedules. But yeah, so jiu-jitsu is a huge priority in our lives. So that's why, like she said earlier, we prioritize in our schedules what is important to us. Mm-hmm. And we understand that there's a balance in our lives. We've got to take care of the house, got to take care of the dogs, got to take care of our jobs, got to take care of our personal health, and let our bodies recover. And those are all huge priorities for us. Is there any other priorities for you that I'm missing? Seeing people? So we do need a couple days a week where we are out seeing people instead of just going to the gym and seeing gym people.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of times that people from the gym even will try to make plans with us on the weekends. And part of me almost feels guilty about that kind of stuff because I'm like, I should really go see like my family or my friends that don't train because I see you guys 5 days a week, and I should probably make more time for the people that I don't see 5 days a week. So there has been some times that we're trying to debate, like, do we want to go here or there? And typically, if it's someone that we see a lot, we probably will choose the people that we don't see a lot.
Yeah, or if we haven't seen them in a long time.
Yeah, just because our schedules are so focused around the gym that we do try to make sure that we make time for everyone that's important to us.
Yeah, that is important.
But it does get a little complicated because we do center our lives around Tuesday through Friday nights at the gym. And like I said, we don't make plans on those days. So trying to actually make plans with people, like maybe they work Sundays and Mondays. So there has been times that I'll take a night off just to go see someone that I haven't seen in a while.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that happens. Or if there's an event going on or something like that, it's fine because we know our consistent schedule is there. Mm-hmm. And we still train as much as we want. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't happen that often where something pops up. But it does. And we do respect it, for sure.
Yeah. But that's kind of what we're talking about when we say, like, we have these really chaotic lives, but we make it chaotic, I would say. Like, we don't have to train as much as we do. We choose to. And we don't have to work as much as we do, but we choose to. And things like that. Like, everything that we do in our lives is a choice. And we just prioritize which choices are more important to us. Mm-hmm. And Jiu Jitsu and making money are definitely on the top of those lists.
Making money?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
You work for a living instead of collecting welfare checks.
Oh, wow. Shots fired.
Anyway.
I tried that once. They said I made too much money to get free money from them.
Crazy.
And I was like, I'm making no money right now. What are you talking about?
I won't even get into that, but
yeah.
So, like, for example, Nick, he drives for Uber, and then he also has his My Odyssey life coaching business, and then he also does private lessons at Fluid, but then he also teaches Fluid classes sometimes, and then he also trains his consistent schedule. But there has been times that I'm like, well, if you didn't make this amount this week, then maybe you should take one night off of training and go make money instead. Because, like, I would say keeping up with our bills is probably a higher priority than training jiu-jitsu.
I don't know. Those are the nights that I just don't sleep. I just go drive after the gym. It doesn't happen that often.
Yeah, well, we've found a good work-life balance on that.
Yes.
But it does keep us very busy. Because, like I said, when we're at the gym, I'm there for 4 hours, 5 hours a day. And that's a long time, considering I'm at work for 8 hours a day, too. Mm-hmm. I just don't feel like I'm home very much. But it's something that I've chosen. It's the life that I've decided for myself. Is someone here?
No.
The dogs are just going that crazy?
Yeah, I think they're antsy.
Okay. They must see a dog outside.
Yeah, maybe there was a delivery or something. I get my energy drinks to keep me moving.
Maybe. But yeah, so you should think about your schedule. And we're not saying you need to go train more than you are. Like, if you are training the set amount that you think is right for you, whether it's 1 day a week or 6 days a week, like, you do whatever you think is best for yourself. And if you are finding that you're getting stressed out or that you're just feeling a little too unmotivated, figure out what it is that you actually want to do every week and set a routine around it.
Yeah, it's all about balance.
Yeah.
So you figure out your desires and what you like to do and what you want to do. And then you also put down what you need to do, right? And then like things like sleep, that's something that you need to do. Mm-hmm. As much as I don't like sleeping. But we all have, I think it's like 168 hours in a week. 24 times 7, I think. Something like that. And you take out, okay, this is how much I sleep, this is how much I work, and then you have other spare time, and then you start to ask yourself, okay, how do I actually spend my spare time, and how do I actually want to spend my spare time? And then you can start to build a grid around that, and then you can start to build a schedule based on what's available in your life.
Mm-hmm. I like to think of it as, for those of you who count your calories and watch your macros and things like that, it's basically like that, but for your life.
That's not me.
So it is basically like you're trying to figure out, like, okay, if my diet requires this much protein and this many carbs and this many grams of sugar and things like that, that's kind of what you're doing with your life too. Like, where do you prioritize that? And like a lot of people, obviously, you're not supposed to have the saturated fats in your diet very much, especially if you're training for a competition. Like, you're going to cut out those fats. So if you are trying to prioritize, let's keep going on that example of training for a competition. If you're trying to prioritize getting better in one aspect of your life, you're probably going to cut out other things in the meantime to get yourself to where you want to be at a certain point. And that's exactly how it is with the diet, and that's exactly how it would be for your life too. Your mental health is just as important as your physical health. So when you are feeling overwhelmed, you need to figure out where you're feeling overwhelmed with and how you can make that better for yourself by either adding or subtracting other points of your life.
Right. Yeah, because if you don't have the right balance, everything will start to fall apart. Because then you're juggling instead of just maintaining.
Yeah.
And it's hard to juggle for a long time, unless you're really good at juggling. But juggling is a lot more stressful.
Yeah. Well, I know on Christmas Eve at night, I was feeling I felt like I was going a little crazy because we were on the move all day long, and I'm not used to doing that. So I said in the beginning of this episode that we typically have like one plan a day, and like that's after work. So if we work, I don't really count work because that's just automated routine. I have to go to work type of thing. So after 4:00, like my choice is to do whatever I want for the rest of the day. So if I have plans that night, that's what I count as like a busy day for me. So when Christmas Eve came around and we had 3 things to do, I felt extremely overwhelmed.
And none of those were work?
Yeah. So it just seemed like I had a lot of places to be and not much time to do it. And I also felt guilty for leaving the dogs alone all day and just random things like that. Like there's no stores open, so it's not like I needed to do any errands or grocery shopping or anything. But I was like, oh, well, if I'm doing this, then I can't do this. And if I'm doing this, then I can't do that either. And it was a lot of like comparison and if, then, and there type of thing. And none of it was like at our house. So everything that I'm used to doing in like a daily basis and as a routine, and like I come from work and I do this and then I do this and then I go to the gym. Like I have those very set routines in my day. So when a screwball comes out on Christmas Eve when it's a Friday and I'm supposed to be at work, first of all, it's throwing off my entire day. So I'm like, well, I'm not waking up for work. Instead, I'm waking up to food prep. And then at food prep, I have to go here, and then I have to go to the gym, and then after the gym, I have to go shower, and after I shower, I have to do this, and then like it's just a spinning wheel that just never seemed to stop. So by the end of the night on Christmas Eve, it was like 10 o'clock, and I was going bananas because I just wanted to leave. I wanted to go home, and I didn't want to be anywhere else, and I didn't want to be social anymore, and I just wanted to be back into like a set routine.
Yeah, there was a whole bunch of things that you're not used to, so. Every time you do something that's not a habit, it takes a certain amount of willpower to make a decision to do those things. And that's why one of the things I talk about a lot is habits. It makes life easier when you have a set habit because you don't have to think or decide to do certain things.
Yeah.
Like a good question for that is when you put your pants on, what leg do you put in first? Right? Do you know?
No.
No, you don't know what leg? Imagine if every time you put on your clothes on, you had to, okay, yes, maybe you pick your pants. But then you have to decide, okay, how do I put my pants on? Oh, I'm going to put my left leg in. Now what? Oh, I'm going to put my right leg in. Now what? Oh, I need socks. Unless you're a person that puts socks on first. Okay, what foot do I put my sock on first? Okay, my right foot. Okay, what foot next? Oh, obviously, my left foot.
Who thinks about this stuff?
Exactly. That's habits. This is what habits are. Because
I don't think about what leg I'm going to put in
exactly.
first.
That's the example. So imagine if you lived your life where you had to make a decision on everything you're doing. How much harder would it be to get through your day?
I'm seriously sitting here trying to think about what leg I put in my pants first.
If you're wondering, I'll put my left leg in, I think. Or my right leg. It's a 50-50 shot.
That's a weird conversation. Okay.
Yes, but what I'm getting at here is habits run 80 or 90% of our day, and the rest of it is all things that we have to make decisions on. Those are not habits.
So you're saying we're on autopilot?
Yes, all the time. And when our life is set up and scheduled and everything's habitual, it's much easier to keep that momentum, keep that ball rolling, keep doing those things that are habits. But when it switches up and the routine halts, like a screeching car, like, It's Christmas Eve. There's no work. We got to go to 3 parties. And then it's Christmas. We got all this stuff we got to do, which is all completely out of your routine. Maybe it's things that you know how to do, you know well to do, but it's not like you can make the charcuterie board without looking up a recipe or looking at a picture or getting some references and deciding, okay, this is what I should do next. Whereas if you make spaghetti, you don't have to think about it. And it's easy for you, and you love doing it. It's just like in Jiu Jitsu, where you're learning a scissor sweep the first time. You're like, oh, where do I put my knee shield? Where do I put my hips? How do I set up my sweep here? How do I make it actually work? But a couple years later, you know, oh, this is a scissor sweep. Oh, this is a good time for a scissor sweep. And you just do it. And you can focus on where do I want to land in the scissor sweep? What happens if they defend? What submission am I going for? Or, you know, you can branch out more things. The point I'm getting at is the more decisions that you have to make at a longer period of time, the more drained that you feel mentally, and the harder it is to continue making decisions until you reset by sleeping or doing something habitual or doing something where you don't have to think, or doing something therapeutic for you, where you can let that willpower kind of build back up a little bit. Because every decision you make takes a little bit of willpower from you. And we all have a set amount of willpower, and that's a whole nother topic where you can build up your willpower strength by pushing that, almost like a willpower muscle, we like to call it. But that also takes time and takes knowing what you're doing versus just like feeling stressed out all the time or feeling drained or feeling like I can't go to the gym today because this happened this week or I'm trying to do too many things at once. And that's where the chaotic part of life really comes into play and comes to combat us when we don't have those set habits and set routines.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem with why so many people end up quitting jiu-jitsu within their first year, because they love jiu-jitsu and they want to make it a part of their lifestyle, but they don't know how to incorporate it into their already busy lifestyle. Typically, people already have a set habit and a set routine that they go off of, so when they join jiu-jitsu, and they have to physically set aside time for this now. Like, it's not just this easy, like, you go and then come back home type of thing. It's like easily 2 hours out of your day, if not more, because you have to get ready to go, drive to the gym, take the class, probably stay to spar a little bit, drive home, and then shower, and then you can pick up whatever you're supposed to be doing. Like, It definitely is a time-consuming hobby. And so when people join, they don't really realize how much time of their week it's going to take up. And if you don't set aside time for that, that's when the chaos comes in, and that's why people stop showing up.
Yeah.
A big part of why people stop showing up.
Yeah, I'd say the hardest barriers of people not joining jiu-jitsu, first one, they always say money. Second one, they always say it's time.
Really? I always thought it was I'm too old or out of shape.
There's that too. I'd say those are the top 3.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so people say they're too old, they're too out of shape, they don't have the money, or they don't have the time.
Yeah. To be honest, you probably don't have the time. If you don't train, you probably don't have the time. You have to make the time.
You don't. And that's what I was going to say about it is you don't want to have the time yet. Mm-hmm. It's not a priority for you. Mm-hmm. Until something switches, and then ultimately in life, things will stay the same unless the desire to change is greater than the desire to stay the same. Yep. And there are things that happen in our lives that make our desire to change greater than our desire to stay the same. And then all of a sudden, we follow that path. But ultimately, yeah, if you want to stay the same and you don't actually make that decision where I want to change this, then it's not going to change.
Mm-hmm. And that's when the chaos comes in.
Sometimes people just coast in life, and that's where they want to be, and that's fine. We are not those people.
No, I would say not.
Mm-hmm.
But like we've kind of said a bunch of times, is that we make the time for jiu-jitsu. And so when people are always like flabbergasted at how much we train, it's kind of just like, well, we choose to train this much. And now it's so set in our routine and so set in our schedules that we're not really willing to change it unless something really good is coming up. Like I said, if we haven't seen someone in a while. Like,
or it's like a birthday, or a wedding shenanigans, or vacations, or things like that. Yeah, another reason I work out so much is so I can eat whatever I want.
Yes. Well, that's what I said. Okay, so this week I said I didn't go Wednesday, and Nick was like, do you want me to, like, pick up Cops or Wendy's or something? I was like, no. If I don't train, I don't deserve fast food. And he thought that was crazy. I'm like, I still I train because it's fun and it's great for me and all that stuff. But like, I also still train to stay in shape. And so if I don't train, I don't think I deserve a burger.
Yeah, well, one day doesn't kill everything.
I don't agree.
I don't know. We didn't train Saturday.
Yeah.
Are we gonna roll after this?
No.
Oh yeah, I think it might be nap time sometime. Again.
For the second time today.
Well, it's been a long couple days.
Yeah.
Almost chaotic or something.
We've done 6 parties in 2 days.
Yeah, that's right.
That's pretty wild.
Uh-huh. And we still brought Jiu Jitsu into it. Twice. Yes.
And that was still with training for 4.5 hours on Thursday, too. It's been a crazy week.
It's been fun, though.
Yeah.
And personally, I thrive in chaos, which is one reason I love Jiu Jitsu, is because...
It's chaos.
Jiu Jitsu is chaos. Everything in Jiu Jitsu is chaotic. The more inexperienced you are, the more chaotic Jiu Jitsu is.
And if you don't agree, send me a freaking video of you rolling and I'll tell you why it's chaos.
Yeah, that's why sometimes people think high-level jiu-jitsu looks really boring, is because you know exactly what they're going to do. The other person knows what you're trying to do. Everybody has their game, and it precedes them, and then they try to shut down each other's games. It can become a defensive battle that's, like, boring. Mm-hmm. But, like, sometimes you go to a local blue belt tournament, and you see these 2 blue belts going wild trying to do everything possible. And it's like, whoa, what is going on there? Yeah. And that chaos is fun to watch. I think so.
Yep.
But that's why when you roll with somebody that's less experienced, that's where the injury rate gets higher, because you're expecting people to move a certain way, and they just don't, because they don't expect it either. And that's where chaos comes into play. Anyways, outside of jiu-jitsu, I'm the type of person who always has a North Star in my life where I know what kind of person I want to be. I know what kind of environment I try to live in. So if there's chaos going on around me, I'm able to ultimately know exactly how I should react to the stuff that's going on. And that's where I think a lot of people get caught up in chaos, is they aren't clear on what they want in the chaos, and they let the chaos control them and also become chaotic and do not have a strategy on how to deal with it.
There's so many strategies that you could deal with it. Like meditation is one. Wim Hof breathing is another one.
Yep.
Like I know that I don't necessarily do Wim Hof, but when I'm feeling stressed, I will do a couple deep breaths, and then I do feel better.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually thought about that quite frequently because I listen to this podcast. It's called Steal My Strategy, and if you are interested in growing your business, whether you own a business or not, you should go listen to this podcast called Steal My Strategy. It's by the CEO of a company called Snappy Kraken, and they just talk with really successful people and how they've become successful and the strategies that they've utilized in order to get to the place that they are now. And there was a woman on there that I was listening to this week, and she was saying that she works with her clients as a financial planner, and she tries to make them feel as comfortable as possible. And she was just saying all of these strategies that she does to like help them build trust and be able to open up with her and talk about their finances, not hold anything back so that she can get the whole picture. And I could go on and on and on. But basically, it made me think about what I would do. And for those of you who don't know, I am in the process of getting licensed so that I can become a financial planner in the future. I'm still a couple of years out, so those of you who are thinking, I want to use her, it's going to be a while. But I am in the process of that. And I was just thinking, I really honestly feel like if I was a successful financial planner and I wanted to build that trust with my clients, I would probably start out a meeting if they're feeling anxious or antsy about, the debt that they're in or the investments that they're invested in or how the stock market's doing and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I probably would start out the meetings with taking a couple deep breaths.
I have done that. I worked basically HR in part of my job as a general manager at a family entertainment center. And there were times where employees would have drastically bad interactions with guests, or they'd get in a fight with another coworker, and I'm trying to get the facts and figure out what's going on to make the decision on how do I reprimand people, where do I go from here. But if people are anxious or physically upset, I literally, the first thing I do is I sit them down in my office, and there's always a second person because there's a witness. So it's never he said, she said type bullshit or whatever. And I sit everybody down in my office, and I say, okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take 10 deep breaths. And I say, follow me. And I start breathing. They're like, what? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, in.
Yep.
Out.
And they probably think you're crazy.
And then they calm down. I'm like, feel a little better? And they're like, yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm like, all right. Mm-hmm. So now we're going to talk about this hard shit.
Yep. I just did that to our nephew on Christmas Eve.
Yes.
He's turning 3 in like a day. And so he's in his terrible 3s right now. And he was just throwing a fit over anything that he could possibly throw a fit over because he's 3. And I kept telling him, I'm like, hey, Auntie Brittany doesn't like fits. We're not going to throw fits. Do you think? And I was talking to him, not this quick and everything, but I was basically just like, do you think throwing a fit is going to get you what you want? And in my head, I'm like, you're creating chaos right now for absolutely no freaking reason, child. So we're literally sitting at the table, and he's like doing whatever he's doing, making a fit. And I just told him, I was like, okay, we're going to take deep breaths. And he's like, what? And I'm like, deep breaths, hands up in the air, and then out. And I made him do 3. And then he stopped throwing a fit. Yep. And I was like, hey, look at that.
Yes. Yeah, you brought him out of the moment.
Yep.
Breathing is super powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I could talk about breathing forever.
Yeah.
Breathing, yeah.
But that's what we're talking about. It's just like when you feel the chaos, when you feel the stress, just figure out what you need to do in order to bring yourself back down to reality.
Right. And since we talked about it earlier with priorities, if you know what your priorities in your life are, okay, healthy living or family, or my wife and kids, or prioritizing exercise, or prioritizing my career, or whatever your priorities might be, when you take those deep breaths and you're trying to figure out what I need to do for my next step, make those decisions that are hard because it's out of our habits, that's where we look at our priorities that are on our priority list. Okay, is this one of my priorities? Yes or no? Is this something that needs to be taken care of right now? Is it urgent? Is it important? That's the Eisenhower matrix. Urgency versus importance. If it's not important and it's not urgent, fuck it. Mm-hmm. If it's important but not urgent, you can do it later. Mm-hmm. If it's urgent and important, you should do it right now. If it's just urgent, I think it said just urgent but not important, do it later. And then if it's important but not urgent, do it later. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can even relate that back to your work. And I don't know exactly what it is that everyone in my life does for a living, but I know me personally, like I get to basically pick and choose what I want to do on a daily basis. And there's one Friday a couple weeks ago that Nick came in and visited me for a couple hours because his car was in the shop. And I chose to work with him. Like he was on his laptop and I was on my PC. And we were able to just do whatever we wanted. We were both being productive. And he had asked me what I was working on. I was like, I don't know. I'm just working on a newsletter. And then he was like, oh, okay. Like, that's fun. And I was thinking about it. We were talking about it later. And I'm like, so I know it doesn't seem like I do a lot at my job, but I do. And he's like, why are you justifying it to me? And I was like, well, because I didn't want it to seem like I just don't do anything at work. Like, I chose to do a newsletter just because you were there when I didn't have to. And he had told me, he was like, okay, well, the fact that you were all caught up on your responsibilities and your priorities for the week, and it was a Friday, means that you were already doing a good job. Like, it just because you don't have something to do 24/7 all the time is actually a good thing, because that means that you're keeping up with your priorities. And that's actually how I structure my weeks, is that I make sure on Monday I come up with a plan of what I want to get done, so that by Friday at noon, I'm not scrambling before the weekend to try to get something done. Like, I make sure that it's done either that Monday or Tuesday, so I can just coast for the week. Do what I need to do and do what I want to do, rather than doing what I have to do by a set deadline and be stressed out.
That's right. Yeah, I told her, if you are living in a work environment where everything is catch up and you need to do it right now because the deadline is now, you did not plan out properly enough to meet your priorities that week.
Yep. Or
over whatever time frame. Or might be that way for months, and you're just now realizing, oh no, this has not been set up properly. Mm-hmm. But not everybody has that autonomy in their job to set up their own schedules. Right. A lot of people, they just get the jobs that are told from them, from their bosses or their general contractors or whoever sets the jobs that they're on. And if those people are not good at setting it up either, you can feel rushed and pushed around because, the next thing also needs to get done right away.
Mm-hmm.
So, but once again, that's their habit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how they, whether or not they like to work or not, that's how they are working. And unless their desire to change is greater than the desire to stay the same, they're not going to change.
Yes. That kind of builds off of another thing, too, that happened at my job is I was talking to some people and they had asked me, they're like, okay, so if you had to pick one thing that you didn't like about your job, what would it be? And I had to sit there and I really thought about it. And they were like, oh, come on. Like, there's got to be something. And I was like, there really isn't, though, because if I don't like something, I just change it. And if I can't change it, I change my perspective on it.
Yeah.
And if I literally woke up every day hating my job, not wanting to go, I probably wouldn't work there. Because I don't want to live that type of lifestyle where I feel the chaos and I feel the stress all the time in my life. And, definitely I have bad days. And there are things that could change. But if they're out of my control, what's the point in stressing about it?
Yep, that's another fantastic neurolinguistic programming technique that I use all the time. It's called Locus of Control. What are you actually in control of and what are you not in control of?
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah?
I just have a fun story to tell you that I haven't told you yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but ultimately, if you can control something, then do something about it. If you can't control something, realize you can't control it and do what you can, which is control your reaction, your response, your internal thoughts process on whatever the thing might be.
Mm-hmm. You are changing lives of people that you don't even know because of the way that you project your type of lifestyle onto me. I feel like we live a very common lifestyle because I've gotten control of my emotions a lot in the last couple of years. And so basically what's happening at my job is we're going through a merger right now. And it's just been very stressful and very chaotic for everyone. It's not going the way that we wanted it to. So there's an advisor at my firm, John, he's just been very stressed out with everything happening because it's just not going the way that he had originally expected and intended. And he's not happy right now.
Expectations.
And so I was telling him, I straight up used you as an example. I was like, John, I'm feeling the same way because all of this stuff is happening. It doesn't seem to be going right. Things are a little stressful and scary for the moment. But at the same time, Nick had told me, if you can't control it, there's no point in stressing about it because what's going to happen is going to happen. And you can only change the way that you think about it. And he has now brought up twice to me since I told him that about 2 weeks ago. Two separate days he's come up to me. He's like, I keep thinking about what you said your husband says. And it's out of my control, so I'm not going to worry about it. He's told me that twice.
Wow.
And he gave you the credit. So.
Way to go.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's hugely important.
And he's 58. So, he's got this life thing figured out. And he's still stressed out. And he's still trying to teach himself that what's out of his control, it's out of his control. And he can only change and control how he reacts to it.
Yes, absolutely. That's a great way to live life. And that's how I live my life 100% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's called responsibility for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's a fun story. But yeah. So you are responsible for your jiu-jitsu training and or whatever else you have as a priority in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And if something's not going the way you like, ask yourself, is it something that I can control or is it something that I don't want to change?
Yeah.
And those are the biggest two things.
Right. We get it, though. I mean, we've been in this sport long enough. We've seen tons of people come and go. We've seen tons of people stay. We know how life can get in the way. And that's where he said, even if something comes up, your schedule's still there. You can still pick up your routine. If you need to take a day off that you normally go because this came up, go do it. Get back to it the next week type of thing.
Right. When our furnace broke or whatever, we're like, sorry, I can't come teach class.
Yeah.
It's going to be a day or whatever.
Right.
Things happen.
And life does happen. Life gets in the way, but you shouldn't let it define you. And you should just be able to bounce back and get to where you want to go. And if jiu-jitsu is truly a priority for you, you'll make it important.
Yeah, and what she said about defining you is what happens to you does not define you, but how you choose to react to what happens to you is what defines you.
Yes. Ultimately. We have a friend who has been really struggling getting to the gym because of life getting in the way. But you can tell that jiu-jitsu is a priority for him, and he's still thinking about it, and he still wants to get there. And it's not that he's not training, it's just he's not training as much as he would like. And so he's figuring out ways in his life to be able to change it so that he can make what he wants to do more of a priority.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter, like, sometimes it doesn't happen overnight. Sometimes change doesn't just happen when you wake up the next morning. It does take some time to reconfigure your life and get it to where you want it to be.
Yeah. Yeah, I changed my careers because I wanted to train more jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And that's part of what was in my control. What kind of work do I want to do that allows me to do more jiu-jitsu?
Yeah. Well, one of the nice things that I like about my job is that, and one of the reasons I haven't left, even on the days I want to, is that I get unlimited vacation. And the unlimited vacation is really nice because we seem to be traveling a lot for jiu-jitsu. So if I work somewhere that, I can't go to Orlando in April for Pan Ams because I don't have enough vacation time, that kind of would suck. But I have my life figured out to the point where I can travel for jiu-jitsu as much as I want, and it's not a big deal.
Yeah. Same.
So, yeah. Chaos. Yeah. Chaotic lifestyles, but...
Just like jiu-jitsu, life is chaos. But if you know what you are prioritizing in your life, and you know what you want to work towards, you can sift through the chaos, take some deep breaths, and take your next step, make that next decision, use your willpower, build up strong habits. And, if you find yourself lacking the discipline to make the decisions that you want to make, or need somebody to help you stay accountable to it, let me know. I'd be super happy to help you out with it. And that's what I do for a career as a life coach, outside of coaching jiu-jitsu and outside of driving. That's what I do. And I can absolutely help you out with that. I've been working on Brittany for like 8 years. Just kidding. But yeah, that's fun stuff. Yeah. But
and then in a couple of years, I could be your financial planner.
Yeah. We got it all. You just come to the Lee household. We got everything you need in your life.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I have.
Yeah, that's all I have. Stay responsible for yourself, though. Don't let other people and other things in your life control you.
Define you.
Right. You remember how you want to respond to things and how you want to react, and make the decisions that are right for you.
If you don't get anything else out of this episode, at least take away that you are in control of your own emotions.
Your own reactions, your own decisions.
Yes. Your own life.
That is your life.
Yep. All right. Thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.